Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Advancy, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic, debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, we've been talking a little bit about the Clippers over the last few days because I think these some interesting stories. Yesterday, we had someone ask us, "Hey, why didn't you talk about Jaylen Brown's contract with the Celtics?" Because it was of no interest to me. Somebody try to make it, oh, you hate the Celtics. Like, stop. First of all, this word hate gets thrown around way too easily. Like, you got to stop. And I think a lot of that, whenever you hear the word hate, is the genesis of that is some extreme level of emotion. You got to stop with this stupidity of just, oh, you hate something. You hate. Stop. Like, I didn't talk about it because I'm not interested in it. You said, well, I expect there's a news channel. How many pieces of news come out every single day in the NBA? Are we going to cover all of them? I didn't talk about it because I wasn't interested. And for you to start accusing me, oh, you do because you may have something, stop. The majority of the time in the regular season, I talk about a few teams. So all the other teams that I don't talk about, I have something against them. Stop. Like, please. So the people that do that, you need to relax. Like, what is this? Harassing me and telling me, oh, you need to stop, please. Anyway, back to my point here. As you guys know, Ty Lue has been coaching the Clippers for the last, 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken. And to be quite honest with you, I think Ty Lue is arguably one of the best coaches in the entire NBA when it comes to making in-game adjustments and all of that. I mean, he's an absolute savant, but he's also good at managing different personalities. He also is good at managing very stressful situations. And you can see how his hair has gotten so white over the time of him being an NBA coach. Now, recently, Ty Lue went and sat down with the All the Smoke podcast, and he talked about the importance of taking the regular season seriously. He went up there and he talked about how he told Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and these guys that they need to put an emphasis back on the regular season, which to me is incredible. That in this modern day, you need to coax NBA players to take a regular season. It's unreal to me, but this is where we are right now in the current landscape of things. So he was saying that. And then this morning I was kind of going through the internet, doing some research, and I came across an episode of the Low podcast? Yeah, the Low podcast and ESPN podcast, where they were talking about this very thing about how, Ty Lue isn't expecting to get a Clippers extension with this team. Ty Lue isn't expected to get an extension with the Clippers, which to me was very, 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 very surprising. And to me, it really shows you some of the issues that are plaguing the Clippers internally. But before we get into his comments, this video is brought to you by sponsor Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play what these guys had to say here in their report, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to that there.
Ty Lue has to play Terrence Mann too. Ty Lue has to want to play him more. And I think that's something that, Clipper fans have been frustrated about. But the one thing you do know about Terrence Mann, his role changes all the time. He takes it, and he always tries to work on his game.
You mentioned Ty Lue. It's another thing that didn't happen this offseason. No Ty Lue extension. He has not been shy expressing his frustration with the state of availability there. He was on All the Smoke. I think it was during Summer League. Said he's talked to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard about taking the regular season more seriously. It's awesome. It's going to be year 5 now.
Well, he's echoing what Lawrence Frank said right at the end of the season, basically saying, look at the Denver Nuggets. They were the number 1 seed all season long. They took the regular season seriously, I would say. I would argue until the end of the regular season.
65 games.
Yeah,
First 65
when whatever
games.
happened, some weird things happened with them. I personally think Jokic got a little tired of the MVP talk. I think they impacted that team, whatever. But I think that they want the Clippers to say, look, seeding matters here. We are always fighting to get out of the bubble. I mean, to get out of the play-in, and basically say, like, stop being on the bubble of the 8th seed or whatever it is, 7th seed. Start moving up. Start playing for home court advantage. It matters when it comes to seeding. Let's not worry going into the last 2 weeks of the season where we're going to be come playoff time. Let's take it seriously, and then maybe we can rest guys or ramp them up, whatever it may be. And so I think you'll see that. I mean, look, Kawhi Leonard, we have to remember he had a cleanup surgery on his knee. On the meniscus.
What is a cleanup? So it's like
it's like
cleanup
a scope,
a meniscus.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I were a doctor. My Asian parents wish I was a doctor, Zach. Fortunately,
I just feel like cleanup is such a carefully chosen phrase to make.
It makes it sound like it's minor. But look, I mean, anytime you get cut open, it's never minor, right? So, but this is the same knee that he had the ACL tear. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kawhi Leonard. They bring Kawhi Leonard slowly along camp. Now, Lawrence Frank did tell us. I asked him point blank after the draft, is he going to be ready to go in camp? And he said, absolutely 100%. But to me, that also doesn't mean he's going to be a full participant in camp. But we'll see. I mean, like Kawhi Leonard, he's going to be in shape. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to take it slowly with his knee and be very careful, because the bottom of the line is they're going to want their stars available. But I like that Ty Lue's echoing it. Ty Lue, though, extremely frustrated last season, Zach. I mean, there were rumblings around the league. People were saying this, and I told Ty this many times. There are other coaches around the league asking me, man, I hear Ty Lue is so frustrated that he'd be ready to walk away. Now, I don't think Ty Lue would walk away from the money, and Ty said that, but he did have a lot of things going on off the court as well. He had a lot of family members pass away that he had to deal with, things like that. And he never gave up on the team. He was always there for them. And then, he would be drawing up game plans, Zach, and then find out at the last minute, this guy's out or this guy's out. And he would have to scratch everything. And I think that became very frustrating for him. I think he really, really wants to see his team healthy together and what he can do with his 2 stars for a full season. Until we see it, I guess I'll believe it when we see it, I guess.
Well, again, I will say there has been no Ty Lue extension. I can tell you for sure that Ty Lue and his representation saw the contracts that were handed out to coaches this offseason, most notably the Monty Williams mega deal in Detroit, and are like, okay, interesting.
So you heard what they had to say. First of all, the Clippers have a lot of issues. A lot of issues. And a lot of these issues, I'm sorry to say, are self-inflicted. They do things that make no sense. Number one, whenever there's injuries and things like this happening, they don't disclose any information to the public, and then by them doing so, they allow people to speculate, create false narratives, which ultimately hurts the reputations of their players. I don't know why they do this. Something will happen, they won't say anything, and the people out there speculating say, well, it doesn't matter because we know what's happening in here. No, it does matter. Your perception as an organization and the way players are perceived does matter. I'm sorry, it does matter. You need to care about what people think to a certain extent. And you need to find a way to protect these players' reputation. But by you saying nothing, I don't see how that helps. Because you are now allowing people to go out there and speculate all kind of crazy things. Like when you heard Stephen A. Smith saying the Clippers need to retire, he couldn't. If you had put it out there that, hey, listen, he was legitimately injured and that's the reason he couldn't play, then you wouldn't have a situation like this when you have people out there saying stuff like that. But this is the Clipper way. To the bigger issue that I'm noticing with the Clippers is this. Ty Lue is talking about they need to emphasize the regular season, but the Clippers medical staff are the main actors when it comes to stopping their players from playing games, which to me makes no sense. Do you know why? Because on the one hand, you have the coach saying they need to emphasize the season. He spoke about the frustrations of game planning, and then right before a game, you find out that your players are not going to be available because the medical staff pulled them out of the game. Then you have the president of basketball operations and Lawrence Frank talking about we need to put an emphasis on the regular season. So you have these bodies within the organization saying this, and then you have the medical staff doing something else. So help me understand something. How are you guys going to move forward when you have this internal clash taking place? Help me understand. How's it going to work? How's it going to work? The fact of the matter is, and I said this all throughout last season, and I was pissed off about it. I said, all of this excessive load management better work, because they were losing games left and right, all in the hopes of, oh, we're going to be ready for the playoffs and everybody's going to be ready. And then what happens? Paul George gets injured right before the playoffs. Someone says, well, it's a freak injury, proving the fact that you can load manage until the cows come home and players still can get injured. They low managed Kawhi Leonard, but in the process of doing that, they blew so many winnable games. They find themselves in a situation now where you're fighting and make it into the playoffs, and now you have to play these guys all of these minutes, play them all of these games, and then the guy gets injured in the first game of the NBA playoffs. And you guys thought you accomplished something. To me, the Clippers seem confused. That's what this report says. And if they let Ty Lue go, it's over. It's over. It's over. I don't see them winning nada. Nada. Not the way that they're going. Not with this philosophy. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it. How can load management be something that can actually affect the success of your team, and you think you're doing something smart? I don't get it. And if I'm missing something, it'll be the Clippers' fault for not putting out enough information so people will not speculate. I'm already fed up with this, with the Clippers, and the season hasn't even started yet. I'm already fed up with them, to be quite honest with you. But these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and then we'll catch you guys on the next show.